In the beginning, there was the void. No light, no darkness, a completely empty realm. Here resided the sum of all things, named Anu. As Anu lived in an endless infinity, Anu cast all evil from itself, seeking a state of total purity and perfection. The evil that was cast out became a seven-headed dragon. That was the sum total of all evil, Tathamet. Born as completely opposite beings, they warred against each other for eternity. As Anu and Tathamet dealt their final blows, it eliminated both of the transcendent beings. And at the same time, the clash birthed the very universe itself. Anu's spine became the crystal arc, and around it, the high heavens took shape and form, and celestial angels came into existence. In the high heavens, 5 archangels representing the virtues of Anu were born: Imperius, Archangel of Valor; Ethereal, Archangel of Fate; Ariel, Archangel of Hope; Malthiel, Archangel of Wisdom; and finally, Tyrael, Archangel of Justice. And so, the archangels born from light established the Angiers Council to rule over the heavens. From Tathamet's blackened, smoldering husk, the realms of the burning hells arose, and there demons came into existence. From Anu's 7 heads, the 7 great evils spawned respectively: Duriel, the Lord of Pain; Endariel, Maiden of Anguish; Belial, Lord of Lies; Asmodon, Lord of Sin; Mephisto, Lord of Hatred; Baal, Lord of Destruction; and lastly, Diablo, the Lord of Terror. Among the 7, the 3 strongest of Tathamet's maws became the 3 prime evils, while the 4 lesser heads became the lesser evils to rule hell. And in the middle of this universe lied the scar of universe's birth, the Pandemonium. In this realm, there was a gem that could alter reality and create life, which was called the World Stone. Tyrael, the Archangel of Justice, built a bastion around the stone called the Pandemonium Fortress. But in desire to control that power, an endless war between angels and demons began, later known as the Eternal Conflict. However, not everyone agreed upon this cause. An angel that served as an advisor to the Angiers Council, Inarius, came to a conclusion that the war was unjust. So Inarius gathered several like-minded angels, and even some demons followed him as well. He stole the World Stone and sought asylum in a pocket dimension. As the World Stone went missing, both angels and demons were confused, while Inarius shaped a new world around the World Stone. And this place is the place where men reside in, the Sanctuary. The angels and demons peacefully coexisted there. Inarius fell in love with a demon, Lilith, daughter of Mephisto. They weren't the last. Other angels and demons started doing likewise, making them babies, and the offspring became a race named Nephilim. The first generation of Nephilims were called the Ancients, and they set out exploring, seeking to understand the world. The Nephilim's power and potential was something more powerful than its parents. The angels and demons became fearful and debated on if they should be made extinct. Although Inarius' intervention ceased the tension, Lilith, however, was driven into a mad frenzy by this. With Nephilim's power, she decided to end the great conflict once and for all. First, she ruthlessly murdered every follower of Inarius. Even though Inarius was horrified by Lilith's actions, he could not kill her, so Lilith was vanished instead. Then with the World Stone, he made it so that the powers of the Nephilim to diminish over time. Afterwards, Inarius disappeared. As thousands of years have passed, tales became legends, and legends became myths. The Nephilim were powerful beings, but as ages passed, they were made weak and mortal, thus the birth of humanity. Humanity flourished across Sanctuary, building cities. As humans ruled over Sanctuary, studies of mysticism and faith spread. Through research, the art of science and magic developed. The study of magic created many mage clans as well, including Emut, Aeneid, and then the Vigere clan. Especially the Vigere clan. They were convinced that spirits dwelled beyond Sanctuary. For years, the clan conducted experiments, and later, a Vigere sorcerer, Jere Harash, made contact with one of these spirits. Yet what he brought was something that mankind had unheard and unseen. A demon. After restraining it with binding spells, he then alerted the Vigere elders. The clan were intrigued by this mysterious being and started summoning more demons from hell. But the sorcerers of Vigere became greedy over time. By utilizing demons, they sought to expand their influence over Kajan, their home ground, and all of Sanctuary. And this growing greed ended up revealing the existence of Sanctuary to the burning hells. Although those mortal humans seemed weak, the primevals understood that humanity possessed the potential of Nephilims. So controlling them would bring them a decisive advantage in the conflict, the primevals concluded. So the primevals secretly entered Sanctuary, and they formed a new cult named Triune to gradually turn them over to the side of evil. Meanwhile, Inarius wandered the world in sorrow. Then, as Inarius became aware of the Triune and its truth, he became fearful that heavens may find out about Sanctuary. Inarius found the Cathedral of Light to counter the Triune, and disguised himself as a prophet, spreading his religion. Through Inarius' efforts, the Cathedral of Light reached the status quo with the Triune. At this time, a man who would change the fate of Sanctuary appeared. His name was Odyssean. One day, as he was trying to save a woman named Lilia, Odyssean realized that the power of Nephilim rested within him. He was also able to tap into others' latent powers and make them awakened as well. Those who were converted by Odyssean, those who have seen, called themselves the Idiran. But Lilia, who led Odyssean to realize his powers, was no other than the banished demon, Lilith. She planned to use Odyssean's powers for her own plans. However, she was banished again as Inarius found this out. Odyssean and the Edorim succeeded in toppling the Triune. Then they faced Inarius and his inquisitors, who tried to stop them from acquiring the powers of the World Stone. But at this moment, the angels found out about Sanctuary and unleashed the heavenly host upon the realm. At the same time, the armies of hell erupted from the ground in turn. War between angels and demons, which Inarius loathed, began right there in Sanctuary. And this was the beginning of the Sin War. As fierce battles took place in the war, Odyssean, filled with determination, released his full power and drove the heavenly host and the armies of hell back. Unbeknownst to him, Odyssean could even alter space, a power only matched by Anu from the beginning. However, his and Edirim's powers, it started destroying the world untamed. Thus, Odyssean released his strength one last time. At the cost of his own being, he reset the World Stone and brought peace to Sanctuary. Meanwhile, as Anger's council found out about the realm, they convened to discuss the fate of Sanctuary, a potential threat. The members cast votes, while Malthael abstained and left. Imperius opted for eradication, and Ariel and Ethereal voted for the world's continued existence. If this ended in a tie, that meant Sanctuary would be eliminated. So the fate of the realm lied in Tyrael's hands. Initially, Tyrael intended to doom Sanctuary. However, he was so moved by Odyssean's heroic sacrifice, and thought highly of human potential than the other angels. Thus, he voted to spare humanity, and Sanctuary continued to exist. Heaven and Hell made a pact to respect the Sanctuary's neutrality. As Aeneas was deemed responsible for this war, Mephisto took Aeneas' custody in exchange for the truce, presumably to be tortured for all eternity. Meanwhile in Sanctuary, in the decades after the Sin Wars, Kazan had been renamed to Khazestan, and humanity strived to recover from the tragedy. The Aeneid and Amulet declared that no mage should ever summon another demon. But in time, Vigere once more rose to great success and started doing demon summoning experience once again. However, the truth of the Vigere summoning became known to the public, and this started a great war among the mage clans. The war engulfed the eastern lands, and the Vigere were hopelessly outnumbered on the verge of defeat. Vigere summoned demons as a last resort. In an instant, the tide turned. However, even among the Vigere, their opinions differed on utilizing demons, and this broke into a civil war. The two brothers among the Vigere, Bartok became obsessed with demon powers, and Horizon believed that it was unjust. The two engaged in a cataclysmic battle, and as thankfully Horizon won, the war was over. As a result, antipathy towards magic grew in Sanctuary, and although magic wasn't made extinct, but the age of magic had come to an end. Meanwhile in Burning Hell, the lesser evils questioned the authority of the prime evils in their methods and started a rebel. The prime evils fought with devastating power, slaying thousands. In the end, however, they were overcome by numbers. Weakened and bodiless, the prime evils were exiled to Sanctuary, and the three fed upon the lusts of men there. However, the presence of the primes were soon discovered by someone who had been watching Sanctuary, the Archangel Tyrael. The angel dared not inform his brethren, because he knew things would get complicated. Somehow, he had to intervene without alerting heaven. So he gathered various individuals and found Horadrim. The bodiless prime evils inhabited the bodies of living humans. So Tyrael fashioned the World Stone and created a relic to contain the evil spirits, the Soul Stones. With the Soul Stones, the Horadrim pursued the three, and Mephisto, the Lord of Hatred, was captured first in Khazestan. In the home of Zakarum, a new religion, Mephisto's Soul Stone was sealed around Kurast. And after a long pursuit, in the deserts of Aranok, Baal, the Lord of Destruction, was caught. But during their battle, the Soul Stone was shattered. Baal could not be captured with only the fragment, so the leader of Horadrim, Tal Rasha, plunged the shard into his chest to seal Baal's soul. Only the Lord of Destruction, Diablo, remained. As Jared Kane became leader of the Horadrim, they pursued Diablo, and within a cave in western Honduras, Diablo was finally defeated and imprisoned. So the Horadrim's quest was then over. Although Sultan Kule, a member of the group, created a device that could imprison both demons and angels, known as the Black Soul Stone. But Horadrim dealt with this directly and defeated Kole. As generations passed, Horadrim became defenders of humanity against the dark. After the Mage Clan Wars, as most people favored faith over mysticism more, a new prophet came into play, and his name was Akarat. Wandering ascetic at first, he contemplated human potential. Hoping to enlighten people's inner light, he went on a pilgrimage. His loyal followers called themselves Followers of Inner Light and found Order of Zakarum. The order then faithfully spread the words of Akarat. The Horadrim noticed their faithfulness, and when Mephisto was captured, they asked the Zakarumites to guard the Soul Stone. In turn, the Zakarumites built a temple in Trivinco to seal the stone. As time passed, the Order of Zakharum grew even more, and they became a binding political force in Kyrgyzstan. A devoted Zakharum believer, Rakis, set out with a large army to the west to spread the religion further. Then Rakis settled in the west and crowned himself king, naming the place Westmarch. The first generation of Horadrim established the village above the ground where Diablo was sealed, and named the village Tristram. And for ages, Tristram prospered. So, 200 years have passed. One day, a member of Zakharum suddenly arrived in Tristram. A man declared king of Honduras at the behest of the Zakharum order, Leoric. The sudden coming of a foreign king to Tristram, the people were initially unpleased, but Leoric served his people with justice. Eventually, his subjects came to respect their new king. And so, on the grounds where Diablo was sealed, Honduras enjoyed an era of peace. But tragedy always visits one in secret. At some point, Leoric's sanity slowly slipped away from him. His once proud visage no more, he began tyrannizing his subjects. He suddenly decided to invade Westmarch and sent his army, including his eldest son, Aiden. However, not long after the army had left, Leoric's second son, Prince Albrecht, went missing. Supposedly to find the kidnapper of his lost son, Leoric killed and tortured many innocent people. When his lieutenant Lactaenon came back from the war, the kingdom was already in shambles. Enraged, Lactaenon spoke with the king, but completely deranged, Leoric sentenced Lactaenon and his men to death, and sorrowfully, the loyal knight held his sword and struck down his liege.
May death bring peace from your madness, Leoric.
Traitors! Even in death, the armies of Honduras will still...
Leoric was nonetheless given burial beneath the cathedral. After that, Lactaenon disappeared. Following the events in Tristram, people went missing and cattle were killed, and unexplainable terrors plagued the town. So the people of Tristram asked Archbishop Lazarus, who just came back from missing. Lazarus was deeply entrusted by Leoric, and told the people that demons took him into the cathedral. He also mentioned that Prince Albrecht must be the works of the demons underground. And so with some of the villagers that he convinced, he entered the cathedral, but none of them were ever seen again. While the town was in turmoil, within the depth, someone realized that a great evil lied within. Deckard Cain. A descendant of Jared Cain, he vowed to aid whomever that could defeat the plague of evil. As rumors of Tristram underground labyrinth spread, many heroes all over the land were attracted to Tristram. However, in the underground dungeon full of evil beings, no great adventurer was spared of death. And only a few made it out of the terrible labyrinth alive. At this time, the eldest son of King Leoric came back from the Westmarch War, Prince Aiden. Aiden vowed to have vengeance over this tragedy. From the East Gate Keep in Honduras, a rogue from the Sisters of the Sightless Eye, and a Vijay sorcerer, Jazrath, aided his quest. Venturing into the depths, they began facing evil lurking within. Many demons, including the Butcher, blocked Prince Aiden's path, but Aiden did not succumb and slayed countless demons to advance. And there were those who continuously aided his journey. Deckard Cain identified a gazillion of items they looted.
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
While Griswold repaired their equipment, born from battles against evil. Then, a relatively new resident of the town, the mysterious witch who sold potions and magic, Adria. And so Aiden prevailed over many obstacles and went down deeper, and defeated his father who had become a monster, Leoric the Skeleton King.
Rest well, Leoric. I'll find your son.
He then continued the search for his brother. As he reached the depth of the undergrounds, he faced the shocking truth. The one who was behind this was no other than the Archbishop, Lazarus. He was originally one of the guardians over Mephisto's soul stone, but Mephisto's soul within the stone secretly asserted his influence outside his prison. Just like that, he had been slowly corrupting Zakera. Lazarus was no exception. He convinced Lyric to establish his capital next to the Tristram Cathedral where Diablo was. So Diablo was once again unleashed by Lazarus and initially attempted to possess Lyric. But his will was too strong, so Diablo was only able to drive the king mad. Therefore, Lazarus brought Prince Albrecht instead, so that he may serve as a host for Diablo's soul. Aidan was infuriated upon finding out the truth. First, he defeated Lazarus, the loyal servant of demons. Soon, he faced the now resurrected Lord of Terror, Diablo, possessing Albrecht. By the side of Diablo, the visionary sorcerer was terrified and driven mad, and so he fled. With the rogue that stayed alongside him, he started fighting terror itself from hell. But Diablo could have totally owned them if he just chilled in the first floor. Instead, he had the courtesy of placing weaker demons first, so Aidan could level and farm crazy like drug cartels. Consequently, Aidan destroyed Diablo in Diablo, completing his grand revenge. But, as if Diablo mocked Prince Aidan, he shifted form to Aidan's brother, Prince Albrecht. Guilt that he killed his own brother, this shattered Aidan's mind. And so he concluded that no one should go through any of the tragedies he had experienced, and made a decision. A decision to seal Diablo's soul stone within his body. Just like how Diablo had planned.